Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Queen's Table. I am Karen Tooley Curry, and I have my sister queens with me, Crystal, who is our housing manager here at Tooley Community Development Group. Also, we have Tynesha with us, who is our data specialist at Tooley Community Development Group. And we are very pleased to have with us today Shamika Saves. And we have an excellent session for you today. We want to talk about 5 things that we can do this year to help improve our financial situation and to just kind of level up in our finances. We as women know that a lot of times we are the head of the household. We are the breadwinners at times in our community. So we want to make sure that we are making the right steps to get forward, to move forward in our lives. So welcome, Shamika, to the table.
Thank you for having me.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? I met Shamika, I don't know, it was probably about, 10 years ago when we were both working at the Space Center. And I heard about the credit coaching that she was doing, and I said we definitely have to have her on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay, well, hello to all the listeners out there. Again, Shamika Saves. I am originally from Florida. I'm a military veteran. I just love helping people get their credit situation straight, just because it is what I feel identifies us.
Yeah.
And we lack education on it, and we want to be able to change that and make it fun. You know, it's actually more exciting than it is scary. So I'm hoping that the way I can come across and explain credit to people will find it to be more enjoyable and actually get with it. Let's change some things.
Good. And I think that is true. We do lack a lot of information, a lot of financial literacy information. And I think it does hold us back. And I don't even think it's necessarily, you tell me, you explain this. I don't think it's always, I was talking to my 29-year-old daughter last night, and she was saying, Mom, I just realized it's not really always about how much money you make. It's about your credit.
Yes.
And she had one little credit card and ended up getting in an accident that totaled her car. And it was just like she did not have enough credit to do anything.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell us if you're starting from, and I know the ladies, Crystal and Tynesha, are going to have some questions for you too. But why don't you tell us if I'm someone who's sitting, like, let's say I'm in public housing, I don't have a great job, I want to move forward. What are the 5 things you would say to do this year to get me from one spot to the other?
Okay, so I made some notes, but before I answer that, I wanted to go back to where you were talking about your daughter not being able to. So what people have to understand is credit knowledge is generational. Mm-hmm. So if it's not something that's spoken about or made to be important in your household, you will not know either. So I have a lot of people that come to me and go, oh, I messed up, I didn't know. And I tell them all the time, you cannot be at fault for what you did not know. Right. All we can do is pick up from where we are now. So that's one. The second thing is credit, to me, in my opinion, is more important than cash, because credit shows the character of a person. How you spend your money does too, if I have all your receipts, if I'm following you while you're spending your money. But I can look at a person's credit report and usually tell their age. I can usually tell their gender. And I can tell the type of person that they are simply by looking at their credit report. So if I can do it, imagine what a bank can do. So yes, we absolutely do need to know the importance. But here are I have a couple 5 things, and I don't know. Well, these are just the 5 things that I came up with that I think that we need to do, period. That'll help us from this year and beyond.
Okay,
go ahead.
Let's give us a little bit of time in between so that we can give. I especially want to hear from these ladies who are in that age group that's trying to build themselves up. So let's give them a little bit of time in between. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so one was watch your credit. Look at your credit reports. That's probably the number one thing. And I guess I can turn it back over to Crystal and Tynesha and say, when's the last time that you've actually opened up your credit report to look at your score or to even see what's on your credit report?
Probably like a couple weeks ago. I have the Experian app on my phone.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
And I can already tell what that's an indicator of. It's one or two things. So I just so right. Okay, but thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
So that's one reason why we need to look at our reports, because had she not known, she could have went to a dealership thinking she finna get that Lexus and finna walk out with a Toyota. You know, that it makes a big difference in what you can get.
Man, she would have got a Suzuki. What are you talking about, Toyota?
Okay. Or escorted off the lot, one of the two.
You can get out.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The second one is get a side hustle. Almost now, if you don't have a job, you cannot get a side hustle. Now, you can't get a side. You either get a job and a side hustle, or you just get a job. But the reason I mentioned get a side hustle is simply because a lot of our problems lie in the fact that we cannot repay the debt we have spent, and that is why we have bad credit. We spend because it feels good. We're going out. It's our birthday. Y'all, you know how it is. It's our birthday. We always got to over celebrate. It's a 4-day weekend coming up. We got to over celebrate. And then next thing you know, that lace wig, them nails, the pedicure, we $400 in the hole. And now we have no way to pay it back. And now the card is closed and charged off. That is a problem. So get a side hustle if you already have a job. If you don't have a job, get a job so that you can pay these bills back. Okay. Mm-hmm. My third would be to pay Uncle Sam. Okay. And that is not necessarily credit related, but it can be in the event that you get sued, or this is why you can't pay your bills back, because a lot of people wait to tax time to get out of debt. Mm-hmm. Well, if you owe Uncle Sam, you didn't pay your taxes, or you didn't take care of your student loans, whatever that may be, they're going to take that money. So we need to pay Uncle Sam his fair share so that at tax time, you can get you some money back to go and take care of what you need to take care of. Okay. And I have created a business. If any of you guys look at any of my social media, and it is Shamika Saves, I always talk about everybody having a business. You need a business because, especially when we're doing taxes, some of you need businesses because a lot of you guys are 1099s. A lot of you guys are independent contractors. You need to be able to have write-offs so that you can lower the amount of taxes that you owe. So having a business is good, and it's also a good way to get more money. You can get business credit. Move away from your personal credit, get the business credit. So get a business is always something you could do, and it's very inexpensive. In the state of Florida, all you need is a fictitious name. That's $50. That is it. And the EIN number is free. So if you can't start a business for $50 and something's going wrong. And then last but not least, we always need to plan for our demise. We never plan for that, which is another reason why some of us are in debt, because we got to go and take out the loan because Ray them. Then we got to go get a GoFundMe, or we got to bury them. We don't have no money. So these are the things that I see from looking at credit reports. These are where we miss out. And if we could take care of all these, to me, our whole situation would change.
Okay, so let me back up for a minute. So we were talking about there's two things I want to circle back to. Mm-hmm. Creating a business. You mentioned fictitious name and EIN.
Yes.
Tell us what those things are.
So a fictitious name, I'll give you an example. This is the best example that I could use is Walmart. Walmart Corporation is the name you will never see because they don't use that name. But the names that you do see are Neighborhood Walmart, Sam's Club, and Walmart Supercenter. Those are Walmart's fictitious names, or you can call them DBAs, or you can call them doing business as. So I have a official business name, but my fictitious name, or the name that I operate by, is Shamika Saves. So I like to let people know that if you're going to put your business on a business card or outside on, a banner, that should be what your fictitious name is. Too many of us create businesses the wrong way. In the state of Florida, if you create a business without a fictitious name, if you create an LLC without a fictitious name, then you have to always use that name with the LLC behind it, or with the corporation behind it. You cannot drop it or abbreviate it unless you create a fictitious name. So you need that. It's $50 and it lasts for 5 years. Mm-hmm. An EIN stands for Employee Identification Number. It's what the IRS gives you. It is like a second Social Security number, but it's for your business. The IRS gives you that so that when your business earns money, it doesn't go to your social. It goes to that EIN. That is what explicitly separates you from your business. So you need both.
Okay, so let's go back to you were saying the last one, planning for your demise. So I've heard put everything in a trust, and then also I've heard, of course, we know we need life insurance. So I've heard the difference between whole life and term life, and you want to talk about some of that?
Yeah, I mean, I can touch on these things. And one, let me state that I'm not an attorney, nor that I am an insurance sales agent. Okay,
I'll cut that out.
all right, but I do have all of these things. So, here is my I call it estate planning. That is what wealthy people call it. We like to pattern ourselves after people we want to be, and majority of us want to be wealthy, so we need to plan our estate. So what happens with a lot of us is when an individual in our family dies, we are not prepared paperwork-wise, which means we have no authority to do anything. We have to wait until probate happens. If you don't know what probate is, that's basically when you go and you wait for the judge to say who is going to be in charge of great-grandmama's or auntie or mama's stuff when they pass away. So in order to avoid that, here are some things you guys need to do. If you have a bank account, please make sure you have a beneficiary on your bank account. Why? So that when you pass, once the death certificate is issued, the person who is the beneficiary can get the check. If there's no beneficiary, who keeps that money? The bank can, okay? Second, if you have life insurance, you need to make sure you have a beneficiary on that. Same thing applies. And if you do have life insurance, you need to make sure your beneficiary, the information is updated, all right? When it comes to life insurance, you basically need to decide which one works for you. Term life only lasts for a certain period of your life. Whole life is just what it is. It's your whole life. One costs more than the other. To me, regardless of which one you get, you need some type of life insurance because when somebody passes, we can't even bury them. The next thing, you need a power of attorney. What people don't realize is once someone passes away, the power of attorney ends also. Okay, so I have a lot of people that they'll come to me and go, "Oh, so and so died. I have a power of attorney," and I go, "Well, the power of attorney died too." All right, and if you don't know what a power of attorney is, basically that is just someone that will handle your affairs in the event you're incapacitated. If you're in jail, if you're in the hospital, or whatever that may be, you can't make any decisions. You assign someone over to handle your affairs for you. But again, when you pass, so does that power of attorney. It ends. Then the last two things you can have is a will and a trust. A will is fine, but a will is instructions for what to do for what's in the trust. What people don't understand is, and please listen to me carefully, a will does not keep you out of probate. The only thing that keeps you out of probate is a trust.
Now, let me interrupt you just a little bit. So probate, I want people to understand, it's after someone passes away. If, let's say, grandma had a house and she passes away and she doesn't have, like, she has a will but no trust. Probate can take years. It can be a number of months, but more than likely it's going to be at least a year. And there's also fees associated with that probate. And you're probably going to want to pay an attorney to help you make sure that you do things the right way. And you'll go before a judge, and the judge is going to tell you what's going to happen with all grandma's stuff. And so when we're talking about building Black wealth, when we're talking about keeping our assets and our families, if we're not looking into this stuff, it can easily become. I used to work for this company that processed stocks and bonds, and there were so many just. People would pass away and their stocks and their bonds and all this money would get what they call escheated to the state. The state will just take it over. Okay, she's gone. Y'all don't know what to do with it. I got it. And so you want to make sure that you stay out of probate. And the way to stay out of probate is what Shamika's saying, is to make sure that you're putting your stuff in a trust. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about trusts?
So how I try to explain it is a trust is the map Okay, so say you're printing out directions. Now, if y'all my age, y'all remember we used to have MapQuest, and we used to print out the directions to get to where we have to go. But the trust is the map, but the will is the individual instructions. They tell you to turn on this street, make a left here. You in 0.5 miles, you go this way. So a trust is where basically you can put anything in the trust. Hopefully, everything you put in the trust you own. Like your home. Your cars. But I know people are going to say, well, what if they don't own it? You can still put it in a trust. The reason why you want to do that is because when you put something in a trust, the person that you assign to handle your affairs is now called the trustee. That person is basically what you were waiting for the probate to do, was to assign someone to be over your executor, right? But with the trust, it bypasses probate. You don't need the judge. You don't need the court. You don't need anybody, because the trust automatically goes into effect as soon as the person passes. So this is a way that you can, and I want to say this the right way, but you can keep others out of your business by making sure you take care of everything in-house. Okay. And this is one of the ways to do it. I'd rather pay a lawyer today while I'm alive than when I'm gone, because they're going to charge you a whole lot more later because they know you need them.
I got a question, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to ask the elephant in the room here, right? Why do Black people not know any of this? Why?
I believe that to me, it's calculated. It is not just Black people. It is almost all minorities do not know anything about excelling themselves financially. And honestly, that's the only way that we can compete. That's the only way we can hurt somebody, is in the pockets. And what we don't know is the damage has already been done to us as a people before we were even born. So if we want to change the tide, we have to educate ourselves. And I'm not telling people to go out and read books, because who has time to do that? Okay,
we got TikTok.
You do.
Yes.
You got all types of social media, but even with that, you need to verify. What they say, trust but verify. And you need to do that, because not everybody who's a guru is right either. I hold myself to that same standard. If I'm wrong, I'll have no problem coming back and be like, girl, I overstepped, I overspoke. But when it comes to this credit stuff, I'm not playing. I know my stuff. But it is, in my opinion, it is how we stay down, because we're not prepared. And that's the only way we can change it.
I will say, I think it's we can say that it's a minority thing. Yes, it is. But I think it's also a class thing, and it's also because poor people, and just poor people, because we've never had the experience. We've never had anyone in our family need a trust. We ain't got nothing, so why put in a trust? But I think we need to change the way we're thinking and start from where we are. And I think that's definitely what I want to get to in this episode, is starting from where we are. Because a lot of times, I remember starting a financial literacy class, or someone wanted me to do a budgeting class while I was working at a housing authority. And what the girls told me at the housing authority was, we ain't got no money, so why would we come in here and learn how to budget? But the truth is, create that budget before you get the money, so that you know exactly where everything needs to go as it starts to come in, because you can mess yourself up way at the beginning, So I think I want to make sure that we bring out, what if I'm sitting in my subsidized apartment. Okay, so number one, I need to get a job. I've got to have income. I'm dead in the water without income. Okay. Once I get my first check, what do I need to do? What do I do with that first check?
I think that depends on what your situation is. Two things I wanted to say. People say, why should I put things in a trust because I don't have anything? And then my response is, well, let me come to your house and take your shoes, especially all them Nikes, them Jordans, all that. Soon as they say they don't have anything, I say, well, let me have all the stuff you have, because if you don't have anything, then you wouldn't mind anybody coming to take it. But if you want to protect even the shirt that's on your back, you're going to put it in a trust. You're going to do something with it because it protect what's yours. So that's one. Don't ever say you don't have anything. The second thing is you were talking about the money being escheated to the state. Well, I always go, here goes a tip now. Look, I call these gyms.
Go ahead.
There you go. Every couple months, I will go to a money finder. Now, if you're in Florida, you can go to treasurehunt.gov. I always check. Now, let me tell you, I'm so cool. I'll go on the streets and I'll ask the dudes in the hood, what's your real name? Because you know they Peanut and Ray Ray. And what's your real name? I'll be right out there on the street with them typing in. And no lie, I found a guy, his dad died. His dad had a life insurance policy he didn't even know about, and we found him some money. I have people come in the office, what's your name? Type it in. I found one guy, he had 3 claims of money that he forgot. So you may have moved around a lot and forgot that electric deposit. You forgot that cell phone deposit. I done found my sister a check that she never got from her last job that she quit. So if you are looking for money, now because you want a job, here goes a job. It's search to see what is yours that is out there. And there's a lot of money tied to our names that we just probably aren't looking for. So look yourself up every couple months and find you some money. God bless you.
What's that website?
Treasurehunt.gov is the one for Florida. Okay. And I always do this at tax time. Okay. So actually you can go to unclaimed.org. Unclaimed.org. All states have to list the money that they take that is in your name. And the only way it can be retrieved is you fill out a form and you send proof that is you, and they will cut you that check. Okay? All right. So go on and get you some.
All right. I like that one.
I got a question too for everybody here. Starting with you, Karen. Mm-hmm. My father, and obviously his father and everybody in that generation was taught that to buy everything with cash. I mean, there's still a lot of people in the older generation that, I only buy anything with cash. And I think that in our community, that's kind of what was passed down, right? Yeah. And a lot of this stuff may seem overwhelming to a lot of few people because they may feel like I'm starting way behind the thing. So my question for you, Shamika, is like a very first step. If somebody's watching this show and they're like, oh my God, and they want to, I guess, change their lifestyle, change their budgeting, change anything, what do you think the first step that they should even take? I know you have 5 different steps. What do you think the absolute first measure they should do after listening to the show?
Look at their financial picture as a whole. It may sound like it's a lot, but it's not. You can go to Credit Karma so that you have an idea what your credit score looks like. You can go to mint.com, mint.com, and you can link your bank accounts so that you can get a full financial picture to see how broke you may not be. A lot of us think that we are, but a lot of times we find that, especially for me, if I just stop going to Chick-fil-A
But it's the Lord's chicken. What you talk about?
If I could just stop going to Chick-fil-A, I promise you, I would be able to pay a couple things off earlier. So, so those are the first things. Put it in your face, and if you don't know where you need to start, you need to get with a professional so that you can have an idea of what your picture looks like, especially if you have a goal. What is your goal? I ask people before we even do a credit consultation, what are we doing? What are you trying? You trying to get a credit card? You need a car? You trying to buy a house? Because those goals are set differently. So there isn't necessarily a blanket answer, but I would say to put your financial picture in your face and accept whatever it is. If it's horrible, that's fine. If it's good, great. They're numbers. They can change.
Karen, how old were you when you got your first credit card?
I think I was 18. Because when you are, I was at FAMU, and up there on the set, it used to be the set, they've moved it now, but there was like these first few weeks, they'd have all these vendors that would come out and set up tables, and all of them were trying to get you to get a credit card because they wanted to get you early, right? And they got me.
They never explained anything to you, did they?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Back then, I don't think they had to. Now it's like this whole fair lending, truth in lending, all of that. But back then, it was just like, just sign right here, and you broke and you're in college and you want what you want. So, and that credit card haunted me until well after graduation. But yeah, I got caught up kind of early with that. But I also learned during that time, not during that time, but after I graduated, I learned to do the thing, pull the credit report, write the letters, call them up, see if you can negotiate, all of that stuff. I went through all of those steps to try to take care of all of that. And I was blessed because for us, my father paid our tuition, so we didn't graduate with a whole bunch of debt. So I only had a few things on my credit report. But when you're graduating, you shouldn't end up with like Sears. I mean, but they're after you. They're after you.
Crystal, what about you? You got a credit card?
Not currently, no.
You said you had one.
I had one. I had two previously. My first one was a $300 limit. I think I was like early 20s. Mm-hmm. I was a work-study student at the time. And summer came. That's what happened. Summer came, and I wasn't allowed to work over the summer, which was not something they had discussed before. Mm-hmm. So it came time to pay my bill over the summer, and I couldn't. So I called them, and I let them know the situation. Like, I didn't know that this was a thing. I won't be able to pay it all until semester starts up again in the fall. Is it possible to to freeze my card and just put a hold on it for now? And they told me, yeah. And then when I went to pay back on it, I was paying on it. And when I went to use it, it wouldn't work. And come to find out, they turned it off. They completely turned it off, which dropped my credit score from like the 780 all the way down to the 400.
Oh, wow. Instantly
ruined my credit.
Tay, what about you?
I got that too.
That's funny.
It's something she's not saying there, and I don't know what it is.
Well, okay, so my wife, I've been with my wife almost 13 years now, and she didn't know that you had to pay that stuff back. She thought free money. So why do you think, Shamika, that when people hear credit card, they think that they don't have to pay any of that back?
Because somebody is basically giving you an advance. And if they catch you at the right time, you're not going to ask the right questions, and you are just going to go ham.
Yeah.
And to speaking about what you were saying about the older generation, the Bible says the creditor is slave to the lender. And I believe that's the mindset of even my grandparents. Mm-hmm. So a lot of us do believe in doing everything in cash. As a matter of fact, I had a lady call me. She's 50 and about to buy her very first home. She cannot get approved because she has zero credit.
Yeah.
Because she thought, and she said, I thought I was doing everything right. I've been paying everything in cash, and now she can't purchase because she cannot show a bank that she's trustworthy. Because we have to remember, there are 5 C's when it comes to credit, and I'll tell you what those are. But the main one you need to know is they look at your character, and if they have nothing to go by, they have no reason to give you any money. Same with you. If you were loaning some money to someone, if you've never seen that they got loaned money and paid somebody back, would you want to loan it to them? Or if you do, what you're going to do, give them a $300 limit. Mm-hmm. That's why they always start at $300, because it's enough for the bank to lose to give you to do a gamble to see how you're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that paying everything in cash, that was the mindset. I mean, we're talking about old people, but that was the mindset of my daughter too. That's why she didn't have any credit when it came time to buy this car. And I think that's what opened her eyes, though, to understand I need to start doing a few more things on credit. But one of the little tricks that I learned is when she had that problem, I went and added her to 3 of my credit cards. And so I just made her an authorized user on my credit cards, and boop, her score went it jumped. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little trick that we can do. But of course, you got to have the credit to do that for somebody. Or if you have established credit, and I am not saying to do that for your friend. I did it for my daughter, and they will send us an extra card. She will never see it. She will never have that card in her hand.
Right.
But she is an authorized user on my account. She don't know the account number. She don't know how to log into it, but it's showing on her credit report as it's paid every month. So that's something that we as parents, if we have the credit, can do for our kids to help them get a step up.
It's called piggybacking, or as they like to say, authorized user. One thing I will say, it is a great tactic Two, you do not have to buy these, you guys. You can be primary. And primary means your name can be on the card versus having to do what Karen has done. So I have a lot, and I'll give you an example. I had someone call me say, hey, my mom has about $600 in debt on her credit, nothing else, but we want to buy a trade line, which is using someone else's credit on their credit. And I said, well, how much? She said $500. And I said, well, but your debt is $600. Why not take the same amount of money you were going to use to buy the trade line to pay the debt off completely? And the girls texted back and she said, we never thought about that.
Oh, wow.
They will catch you at the right time, and they will tell you need something and you do not. Once spaghetti is soupy, you need no more sauce. Okay, it is good. Don't let these people trick you. But it is a great tactic to boost your score. It is absolutely.
I've got a question for everybody again, and I want to ask everybody. What do you think is a good credit score? Do you even know what a good credit score? I know you know, but Crystal, do you know what an actual good credit score is?
Well, a fair credit score is like in the 600s. I think a good credit score is in the 700s, and then excellence is 800.
Okay. What do you think?
I think 7 and above is good.
All right, the master, what do you think?
So Crystal was right about the scale. That was designed for us. Okay, so when you see the fair, good, great, excellent, those are all emotional trigger words, okay, to make you feel like you are not any better than anybody else. But I will tell you guys this: if you want the best interest rates, you can get a 7. It used to be 760. It is now 780. But once you hit 780, whether you hit 781 or 881, which you can't, it is all the same. So everybody trying to shoot for 800, you don't have to. Sorry to say, you can be at 780 and banks will treat you exactly the same. But if you have less than that, that does not mean that your credit isn't good. You guys have to realize that credit is made of a factor of things. Some things can be removed to make it go up. Some things can be added to make it go up. These are just numbers. So credit scores can be manipulated. So that's why I tell people, stop falling apart over these numbers, because in 30 days we can change it. So it can be done, but 780 is considered perfect.
Okay, so another trick is, and you tell me what you think, is once you've paid off a credit card, don't close it.
What?
Absolutely, never.
Don't close it.
What?
Never.
What?
Yeah.
That was a gem. Make that.
Hold on. Wait. Here we go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So explain that.
You're
Shamika.
exactly right.
Explain.
So how I try to make this make sense to everybody is look at things on your credit as family members. If one of your family members were to pass and be taken out of the equation, would you guys not be sad? Same with your score. If something has been on your credit for a while, even if it's negative, as soon as it is removed and it's no longer a part of the factoring of your score, something actually happens derogatory more than positive. So I'm glad that you just paid off your $30,000 car, sis, but your score won't be. It will go down. You have a credit card and you paid it off, that's fine. Never close it, because you don't know the age. There are factors of with that credit card or with that trade line that affects your score. The age, the limit. It may affect the utilization. And if you don't know what utilization is how much credit you have in total versus how much you have used. So if you have $5,000 available to use, but now you just closed your $3,000 credit card, you now have $2,000. And if you have $1,500 already charged on your card, your utilization went from almost nothing now to 70-80%, which means your score is going to tank. So we never close things. Even if you have $100 left on your bill and your minimum payment is $25, pay $25 and make it stretch out, because once that bill is zero, it's not factored in anymore. It doesn't factor into your score, and that is what hurts some people, is because they don't understand the little intricacies of when it comes to credit. So don't pay anything off except something derogatory. And I'll tell you, if you pay a collection off, if you pay a charge charged off card, even if you settle the repo, once those things are removed, if they've been on your credit for a while, your score still will go down some. But that's okay because numbers can be manipulated. You can add a trade line. You can do an authorized user. Boom, it goes back up.
So I'm gonna, Karen. I think I might be asking your question. I saw your eyes go. Wait a second. So it almost seems like once you get into the credit game, you cannot get out. So if I pay a car off, what else can I do? Because I'm not paying for it anymore. So what do you mean? Why does it still have to be on my credit? I'm done with the dang thing.
A credit report is a report just like a report card. So once you pay a car off, you don't want it to come off of your credit because that good history follows you. Now, if you had a repo, we need that gone as quickly as possible because it's going to stay on your credit for 7 years. But things that are good stay on your credit for 7 years too. So I'd rather have good things follow me than bad. Because someone asked me the other day and says, well, if it's still going to be on my credit, why should I worry about paying something off? And I said, because the fact that it's on your credit and it has to stay 7 years, do you want 7 years of derogatory reporting or 7 years of positive reporting? And another thing you guys don't realize is, and the credit is a game, once your payment history changes, so does the clock, meaning the time on. So I'll give you all an example. Say I have a $300 credit card. I've been good for 2 years. I miss a payment and I don't pay it anymore. The card's been open for 2 years though. So you would think that's 2 years. I got 5 years left for 7 years, right? No. As soon as I went derogatory on that card, the clock started over. My 7 years started from the date I missed that payment. So what y'all don't understand is because a lot of people say, well, this finna fall off. And I'm going, no, you need to see when the payment went. So as soon as something goes derogatory, the clock starts from that date. So even if you've been good all the while, same with the car. You've been good for, a long time and you missed that payment. And now it's negative status, not a late status, negative like the repo, whatever. That repo stays from that negative mark stays from the time that car charged off versus when you bought it. So the credit is a game, and basically they are incentivizing you to, when you get stuff, to keep it to keep it positive, because if not, it's going to haunt you longer negatively.
Can I talk to you about something?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, so someone in your situation, actually, and this is for anyone that comes to me, and thank you for asking me these questions. I always say, I need to see your credit reports. And the reason I need to see your credit reports is because me and the bank speak a certain way, but me and consumers talk differently because you're on the other side. So you were saying stuff like annual payment. Now I'm assuming annual payment means you're talking about your annual fee that you get on your card. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So first thing first, if you have a card that gives you an annual fee, you don't even want it. Now, I do understand that some of us we starting out in the mud, okay? But if you are starting out and you're struggling, what we need to get is a secured card. And you want a secured card because that's your money that's securing the line of credit that you're getting. So to make it make sense, if you put $500 down, $500 will be your limit. Now, some of those may have an annual fee. So secured cards are the only ones I will say with an annual fee. If they're unsecured, I don't do them. So someone in your situation, one, I would look at your credit, but I would say for someone that is listening, if you're applying for a card and you're seeing annual fees and it is not a secured card, you don't want it. And I know they're going to throw that at you a lot in the beginning, but the reason why I don't want you to have them is because we are not disciplined enough. We are already spent our money to the limit. And as soon as that annual fee hits, what do we get hit with? We get hit with over the limit. Now they're probably going to try to hit you with the daily fees because they're not able to charge. I mean, they charge you crazily, and just like you said, you weren't able to afford it, and then it started the crumble, and that is usually what happens. So we stay away from annual fees if at all possible. But you would need to do a consultation so I can look and tell you, because you said business, and so when you say business, and then I'll be done. Business has its own separate credit. It has its own separate social. It has its own separate credit reports, just like your personal has separate. So you might have thought you were getting something on your business, but if it showed up on your personal, it's not business because they are completely separate. And yes, you can have two separate credit files. You can. If you have a business, you should definitely have one. Even if you have a nonprofit, everybody should have a separate credit reporting, especially if you have an EIN and a social.
Just as a side note, for everyone who's watching or listening, Shamika is with us every second Wednesday here at Thule Community Development Group doing credit repair sessions for our clients. So if you're interested in talking with Shamika, you can see she is a wealth of knowledge. So if you're interested in talking...
Sorry.
and talking with Shamika, you should definitely plan to be here on the second Wednesdays. I think those classes start at 4:30. Is that right, ladies? 4:30 to 6:30 on second Wednesdays of the month. So make sure you come out, and we will help you pull your credit report so that you can sit down with Shamika and get some wisdom on how we're going to level up this fall. That is what we're saying around the East Mims Learning Center, that this fall we are leveling up in our finances, our relationships, our wellness, and just our health in general. So make sure that you take advantage of this knowledge that we were just saying Black people, our people, don't have this knowledge. Well, it's here for you. It's here for you. Did you had something else to say, Phil?
So let's say my credit score is my weight. So let's say it's pretty low. I'm not saying it's me, just hypothetically, right? Would a secured card help? Because it is my money.
So there is no blanket answer when it comes to credit. Everything is it depends. Well, the good news is your credit score could not be your weight unless you are on my 600-pound life or my 300-pound life, because you usually will never see a credit score drop below 300. Although the credit ranges from 300 to 800 or 850, 300s are rare. 4s are usually what I see. And if you have a 4 something, 5 something, low 6s, I am not adding credit. I am trying to figure out why your score is that in the first place. More than likely, it's medical bills, repos, evictions, those things. If those are the issues, adding another line of credit probably would not be the first thing I would do. The first thing I would probably do is see if we can get some of these things removed by disputing. And let me plug the site really quick. I do have a website you can go and do free. Y'all heard me, free disputing. What y'all do not know is a lot of y'all try to dispute on Credit Karma, on Experian, and y'all are wondering why it's not getting done. Well, it's not getting done because you don't read the very fine print that says once you dispute once, you can never redispute again online. You never are supposed to dispute online because all they're going to do is say it's accurate. And then when you dispute again, you're going to get the same answer again. You only get a different answer when you put it in their face in that black and white, because most of us print in black and white, and you wet ink sign your paperwork. That's how they know it's real, okay? So you can go to my site. It is called Credit Hacker. Okay. And there is a dash between credit and hacker because I was not paying for that domain. Okay. So it's credit-hacker.com. You can go there. You will have to sign up for your credit monitoring because that's how you're going to be able to see your scores and the actual real changes. But the dispute is free. All the letters. If you're hearing about 609 letters, 611, and if you come to these classes here at the Thule Center, I will tell you where they get those 609 letters from, and 611 and 614. There are a lot of sections, okay? All that is coming from the Fair Credit Reporting Act. But you can get all of those letters. You can just select what you want to dispute. It will automatically put everything in a letter, and it will print your social security card and your driver's license out. Fold that up, put it in an envelope, and mail it off, okay? Even something as simple as having misspellings on your name, you need to do it. So to answer your question, I have to look to see because it could be fraud. It could be, and y'all may not know this, but small things like misspellings on your name is why so many people are getting things in your name without your permission. So if you are like me, my name is Shamika. Y'all know it can be spelled several different ways. I am always checking my credit report, not just for derogatory items. I'm just trying to see if somebody tried to use my name to get credit. And does it happen? Absolutely, yes. So if for nothing else, if you don't want to you know, you don't want to change your life, fine. But if you don't want to be a victim of identity theft, at least go and check your credit reports, because it is very, very rampant right now. Very rampant. Okay. So check your credit, if for nothing else, to do that.
Karen, is this free to come to your?
Absolutely. It's absolutely free. So basically, on our website, you should sign up for the classes. And even with that, it's just we want to make sure that we have enough people coming to justify the time. So it's not like we're asking you for everything in the kitchen sink. But these classes are free, and they're ongoing. So make sure you make it out here, because, again, it's time for us to level up. It's time for our community to come up. There's no reason why we have to continue being victim to some of these things that were put in place years and years ago. We don't have as many restrictions as we've had in the past, people. We need to leverage everything we can to make sure we're building Black wealth, we're building our community. So don't miss it. Don't miss out on the knowledge.
Absolutely.
So I want to say thank you to Shamika Saves for being with us today. Thank you, Crystal and Tay, for hanging out with us at the Queen's Table. And until next time, don't forget to join us at Thule Community Development Group for credit repair classes with Shamika Saves. All righty. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.